All right, welcome to our first deep dive. All right, so what's a deep dive? We're picking one topic and we're going to hopefully explain what you all need to understand so that you can take that information and apply it to your daily lives. So let's first things first, since it is our first, we'll go over who we are and what we're trying to do. We have a school platform now. It's for our community, those who are dedicated educators, whether you're a teacher or not, whether you're a coach or not, whether you're a personal trainer or not, or whether you're a parent who's trying to raise their kids as healthy as best as possible. There's a ton of bad information out there. There's also even more free information, but we're creating a paid community. Why are we creating a paid community? Because it's the only place you'll find all the information that we have gained over the past 30 years. Is it the best information? We hope so. Is it accurate? To the best of our 30 years experience, that's what we know to be correct and true. We will be updating because information in this field is always updating. So we want to be your go-to resource for finding out information that helps you, whether you want to choose certain types of diets for yourself, whether you want to apply that information and knowledge to your kids, and whether or not you are passing on this information in an educational setting. We want to be the place you go to for that information. PowerPoint presentations, rubrics, curriculums, classes, educational content that you can take and use for your own information, your own knowledge, your own, let's say, entertainment. That's what we're doing. So today, our first subject is physical literacy. Our first dive is physical literacy because when people hear the term PE, they think of gym class. Gym class is not what physical education is. Gym class is just rolling out a ball, having fun, and the key being, let's have fun. I don't have a problem with that, except I do have a problem with that. My problem is we're missing out on a chance to be as healthy, as best, as good as possible for our lifelong wellness journey. All right, so what does that mean? We're messing up big time. We are not educating people how to walk into any fitness facility, AKA weight room or gym, and know what to do. We're not teaching you why cardiovascular exercise is good. We just say, hey, it's for weight loss. Well, that's not necessarily true. We're not teaching you why certain food choices are good. We're not teaching you why certain food choices are bad. Believe it or not, gluten doesn't mean healthy. Organic doesn't mean it's better for you. It can mean it's better for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy and or good for you. Low fat's not good. Low fat's not bad. High carb, low carb, no carb. Keto carb. I made that term up. But that's what we're talking about. That's the whole point. So let's deep dive a topic to help you guys understand it. Whether or not you listen to the whole thing, whether or not you watch us live, whether or not you record it and listen to it, whether or not we get guests on here. If you want to be a guest, come join us. Okay, we're going to be doing this at 8:15 on Fridays to educate you guys as best as possible. I might be going to the whiteboard once in a while, but this is how we're doing it. All right, so remember, we're on the school platform community, whatever you want to call it. It is Stronger Together Family. See the shirt right there, Stronger Together Family. That is our community on the school program or the school community platform. Okay, SKOOL. It is currently free, and if you join now, you can be lifetime guaranteed free membership grandfathered in. We will be charging a price soon enough, anywhere from $29 to $79. We haven't determined that, but if you join now, you can be grandfathered in for free. We offer mobility classes, we offer education, we offer workouts of the day so that you can apply that to your kids, 10-minute fitness challenges, stuff like that. Go check it out. We hope you become a part of our community. All right. Physical literacy. It is the act and the skill of being able to control your body in a manner which is effective, safe, and productive. And what do I mean by that? It means, can you touch your fingers without looking at your fingers? Can you walk down the street without looking at your feet? Can you catch a ball that's thrown at you, whether you look it into your glove or whether you just know where the ball is and you can stick your hand out here and grab it? Those are skills that can be developed. Are you mentally strong? Are you physically strong? Are you cardiovascularly strong? All of those are important. Do you have stability? Can you stand with one leg in the air and balance for a minute? If you can't, that's a problem. The number 2 complaint we hear from adults is I have bad balance. Number 1 being I want to lose weight or I'm unhappy at my current weight. All right. Well, balance training actually can help with both because you'll burn calories while you're balance training and you'll improve your balance, which means you decrease the risk of injury, which improves your quality of life. Both of those are good things, right? So let's improve your quality of life. Have you, with that information, teach it to your kids in little 10-minute daily nuggets. We don't want to overwhelm you with the information. So we're going to do 10-minute nuggets, except for this deep dive. This could be anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. It just kind of depends on how much information I'm putting out there. All right. So physical literacy. There are 6 physical literacy skills that we want to work on that we think are important for you guys to understand. So we're going to go over those right now. That's actually the wrong one. This is what we're talking about. So physical literacy. Can I change what this is? Nope. So let's do this. There we go. All right. So these are the 6 skills you as an educator, you as a parent, you as a sports performance coach, or you as a sport coach need to understand working with your kids. Strength. It's not maximal strength. It's, are you strong enough to do life? Okay, life requires a certain amount of strength, like carrying groceries, carrying bags, carrying this, carrying your suitcase, carrying that, carrying boxes. You have to be strong to perform in life. So we want you to be strong. We're not concerned with maximal strength, especially with kids. It's not what's your 1 rep max in bench press. It's more so, can you do this safely for 10 reps? All right. Stability. Can you maintain joint stability and can you maintain a stable position? Because that's very important in injury prevention. The better you are at maintaining equilibrium, which is a form of balance, that's important. All right. So if you notice 2 and 3 right there, stability and balance, they are related. What we generally teach is stability is more about the joints. Can the joints stay in place, lock in place so that we're not weeble and wobbling back and forth? Kind of like something blowing in the wind. We don't want to blow in the wind. We want to be a skyscraper, rigid and strong. Skyscrapers move a little bit to adjust for earthquakes, but for the most part, you don't notice it. And they just stay rock strong right there. That's stability. The ability to maintain or prevent unwanted, unnecessary movement. Balance, on the other hand, is the ability to maintain equilibrium, maintain your balance while you are moving. They can be used together. Like if I was standing on one leg and trying to maintain my position, my leg in the air might be moving around, but that leg is helping me balance, and the ankle and the knee and the hip of the plant leg are actually stable or being stable. So if I was right here, leg in the air, and this leg's moving, this is helping me create equilibrium changes, center of gravity changes. So I need to learn how to balance. This leg is keeping stable or keeping my stability. Important distinction, okay? Because we do want to have somewhere where we eliminate movement and some training where we add movement, okay? And if you'll see the next thing, number 4 is movement. All right, movement is just the ability to move through a comfortable full range of motion so that nothing is really painful, but you can get up off the floor, you can jump up on a box, you can squat down low. Those are all important things that you need to be able to do. All right. 5th is flexibility. All right, the ability to move through your end range of motion and to do it safely. All right, limited range of motion leads to injuries, and we want to prevent injuries. So we want to show you ways to improve your flexibility. If you're older, to maintain your flexibility. You can improve your flexibility up until your last days. It's just problematic if you aren't doing it consistently. So sort of figuring out a way to be consistent, which is also why we're disseminating all this in 10-minute nuggets, except for the deep dives. Why 10-minute nuggets? Because everyone can find 10 minutes, right? So everyone finds 10 minutes a day. We're going to help you with those 10-minute workouts, 10-minute activities. Now, can you do more in the day? Absolutely. But with your kids, maybe before school, you can find 10 minutes to do things. 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of strength training, 10 minutes of balance work, 10 minutes of building bonds with your kids. All right. And if you're a teacher, you can consider these brain breaks. You can take a break during the middle of class to increase your focus, improve your productivity, and all of that will help you out. All right. Lastly is targeting. Targeting is actually marrying two terms together. Spatial awareness. So I know how far away this camera is to me. I know that if I was rolling forward and backwards, I know how far it is now. I know how close it is now. That's spatial awareness. The speed of objects and the movement of objects and your ability to track that movement without having to have a tape measure and say, oh, that's 3 feet away. Like I can say this is arm's length away. There's my finger right there. Okay. So that's arm's length away, right? Now I am one big stride away. So we want to know that if I'm walking down the street, how many steps, we're not going to actually count the steps, but how many steps to the curb are we so that we don't just walk out into traffic, right? I got to stop eventually. How fast is that street coming up to me? How fast is that car driving towards me coming to me? Those are all skills that can be practiced and we take them for granted. But with kids, we can get really good at them so that everything else in life is mastered. We can be okay at it and still have an easy life. But the better we get at targeting skills, the better off we are. So that's spatial awareness. Kinesthetic awareness is your ability to know where your body is. I can touch my fingers even with my eyes closed, right? I can touch my forehead even with my eyes closed. I know where my body is in space without having to look at my body. I know where my foot's going to hit when I take a step. I can also learn, practice, and master squats and not have to watch myself in the mirror anymore. And if you've noticed, most gyms have mirrors. It's so you can watch yourself. But if you get really good, you know whether or not your technique is right. You can feel it. So kinesthetic awareness has a lot to do with feel. Does this feel right? And you can make small, minor adjustments, maybe even big adjustments on the fly based on this is how I feel. All right. And that's very important. How you feel becomes very intuitive. You get better at things based on knowing and recognizing this just feels a little bit off. All right. So important to understand that. So these are the 6 skills of physical literacy that we work on. Now, there are subsets within this that we have, and these are your PE, physical literacy foundation skills. So running, okay, that's movement, right? Jumping falls under the movement category. Throwing falls under movement. Notice how a lot of these fall under moving. Catching, that falls under your spatial awareness and your kinesthetic awareness, your targeting skills. I guess you could also say throwing is a targeting skill. Kicking, movement, spatial awareness, and kinesthetic awareness. Striking, also under the targeting. Balancing, pretty simple. It falls under the balance umbrella. Okay, but stability and balance are dependent on each other on a lot of things. They are independent, but they generally are codependent, working together. All right, agility, your ability to move, stay balanced, and still be able to do what you're trying to do. All right, so agility is the ability to stop and start with as little loss of speed as possible in a quickness sort of way. All right, coordination. Can you coordinate multiple movements? Can this hand go back while this hand goes forward? And I'm coordinating opposite sides. A lot of times this is known as sequencing. Okay, I'll have a sequencing explanation in the comments on the school platform. Sequencing is the ability to place things in the right order. So like the first movement of a technique of a squat is actually to stick your butt out. It's called a pelvic tilt. Okay, so you actually tilt your pelvis I think you can see my hips. So the first thing that happens is your butt goes back and then you squat from there. Where a lot of people go wrong is they sort of eliminate the tilt and they go straight down, which leads to a problematic squat technique. That's a problem. All right, we can fix all that later. For now, just understand that there's a sequence of events or timing of events. Throwing, hand comes back. I wouldn't just stick my hand here and go, right? I need to bring it back. My arm crosses to allow for rotation. Sequencing. Sequencing is creating the right order of events in order to be optimally performing that event. All right. Flexibility we also have. All right. Then we have spatial awareness, which we talked about. Body awareness, which falls under kinesthetic awareness. It's knowing where you are without having to pay attention. I know that my hand is right here. If I know I do this without looking, I get movement. Locomotor skills. A lot of this is one hand goes forward, one leg goes back. Think of your gait, G-A-I-T. Gait is your walking pattern. It's pretty ingrained, and once you learn it, you pretty much stay with the same walking pattern for the rest of your life. Injuries notwithstanding or gait training notwithstanding. Locomotor is the ability to coordinate opposite movements so that you get a back and forth type movement. Think of like the drum technique, where when I do the drum, one side reciprocates, one side moves one way and the other side reciprocates the other way. So like a reciprocating saw, one goes forward, one goes back, like trains. Okay, locomotion. Okay, a locomotive, right? All right, fine motor skills. Can I write? Very specific, small movement skills are important. Okay, being able to thread a needle without getting frustrated, that would be a fine motor skill. Okay, climbing, swimming, those are pretty self-explanatory. Teamwork is very important because we have to learn to work together. Why? Because it's very important. In life, we have to work together. Sportsmanship, also important. Not necessarily a true skill of literacy, but understanding it does help you become physically literate, because inside and in your brain is also as important as outside. All right, cardiovascular endurance and then strength training. All those fall under the skills of the 6 physical literacy skills, and these are the foundation of those skills. So, what is your role as an educator, as a parent, as a coach, as a trainer? You have to understand how each one is best applied. For example, balance work. Balance work is best applied by creating movement that forces the body to improve and get better at it. So while I'm moving around, am I coordinating all my body parts together? As I work on offset movements, I will learn to better manipulate in opposite directions how to maintain my center of gravity. So real quick, center of gravity is your body's ability to maintain balance by having approximately 50% on one side of your middle and 50% on the other side of your middle. So your center of gravity is directly in the middle. Now, balance is trying to maintain so that your center of gravity maintains in the middle. Example being is if I lean forward, this is going to go back. If I try to not have this stick back, now I lean forward and I will fall forward. Naturally, as I lean forward, this goes back. Now, if you notice, this is your RDL technique, your Romanian deadlift. So watch this right here. As I bend forward, that goes back. I keep this very close to keep this from having to go too far back. If I hold the weight too far out, now my balance is off, my body awareness is off, and I can cause injury because I am not doing all I can to maintain my center of gravity. Another problem. So that's why these are so important. Understanding all 6 skills is important because they really, truly all integrate together. Okay. Knowing where a weight is without having to look at it is being strong. It's a movement. Working through that full range of motion is the flexibility of that movement. And then being able to maintain your body position is your balance. There's 4 of the 6 right there. All right. So it's important to understand, it's important to teach, and it's important that you as a parent and an educator have a minor understanding of all that's going on. So we're here to teach you, and that's what this is for. All right. So all right. The 6 skills again. So you generally have the question of, well, what order would we put those in? Well, here's the order that we put our strength training or our skills in. All right. So we don't want to start a program or a class or a session with strength training. Why? Because we need to warm up first. So there are certain things that are lower on the intensity level that allow for you to warm up. So movement, generally speaking, movement is like a dynamic warm up, very easy for the body to do, very easy for the body to elevate the heart rate, elevate the breathing rate, increase the pliability of the muscles, lubricate the joints. Those are the reasons why we warm up. Increase pliability of muscles, lubricate the joints so that we're not stiff and you never wake up and you go, you got to kind of crack. Hopefully you're not young doing that. It's more of an older person thing. All right. We want to elevate our heart rate so we're pumping blood flow to the necessary needing areas. We want to also increase our respiratory rate so we don't cause a stitch in our side because we've already sort of acclimated to the respiratory rate of what we're trying to accomplish. All right. So we generally start 5 to 10 minutes of a dynamic warm-up. Then some easy movement through mobility stretches, such as mobility stacks and or just performing light exercises to create movement. We then work on balance and targeting, depending on what type of client we're with or what type of student we're with. If it's a younger person, it's probably more on targeting skills. If it's an older person, it's probably a little bit more on balancing skills. And then we get into the strength training aspect of the workout. These are very important to understand because we only have a certain amount of time within the scope of our classroom or the scope of our practice of what we can accomplish. And we want to master as many skills as possible, but we don't want to do it all sporadic and haphazard. We want to be focused and have a plan in place, and then the attention to detail to know if I do this, I'm going to get better at this, and then I'm going to get better at this. Most people don't have the background in all of this and we'll do, I'm going to do a little bit of this and I'm going to do a little bit of this and this sounds fun and this is exciting, but there's no linear progression. They're not going to get better at a skill because they're jumping all over the place. So we're going to offer classes that teach you this is the order in which you do it. These are your progressions. You're having a problem. These are your regressions. Okay, so you get a further deeper understanding of everything you're trying to do. Because just doing it because your coach back in the day told you to do it doesn't make it the best. There's a lot of progress that's been made in the past 30 years. So doing your old school hamstring stretches, your toe touches, your cherry pickers, those aren't the best ways to do things anymore. We know more, and we're going to pass that on to you. All right. So hopefully this message works. Hopefully you start to get an understanding of what physical literacy truly is. It's what evolved out of what used to be gym class. PE used to be physical education, dumbed down to the crowd of today where it's just gym class, where kids don't have any attention span and all they want to do is have fun. And teachers some of them are great teachers. Some are amazing people. But a lot of times you've just given up on the education portion of physical education. And you just don't want to deal with parents, for one. And you don't want to deal with kids being unhappy. So you just make PE fun. Well, subjects aren't meant to be fun. Subjects are meant to serve a purpose. Physical education serves a purpose. The purpose being how to be physically literate within your body. And that's partially